Hello and welcome to the YouTube channel. Today we have another video for you. I'm joined by my lovely wife, Lindy. We are talking about the first book of the Dark Tower series today, the Gunslinger. We got it here on the desk and some other miscellaneous Stephen King books that are just random. But anyways, they're supposed to somehow relate. The Dark Tower is, if you know anything about Stephen King, it's very encompassing and it has a lot of his works at least referenced or slightly tied in. And so not necessarily a spoiler, but
yeah, I already knew that.
So, you already knew that, yeah. So I've read the whole series. I've read a couple of these a couple times. I've read this one, I don't know, 2 or 3 times maybe, but you have never read any of these.
Right.
And you've read some Stephen King. What is your
Barely.
experience? Yeah. What is your experience with Stephen King? What have you read? And then we can talk about what you know of the Dark Tower coming into it.
I have read Salem's Lot. I think that was the first book of Stephen King's I read. Really enjoyed it. Good book. Scary. I don't like scary. I don't like horror. So that's why I've always stayed away from Stephen King. I know he's a good writer, but I'm not a big fan of horror. Yeah. And then I've read a little bit of it because we watched the movies.
Yeah.
And then I read maybe it's a massive book. I mean, I maybe a quarter of it, maybe not even. And it was too scary. Way scarier than the movies. So didn't stick with that one. Good writing, of course. Kind of slow actually in the beginning. If I remember correctly.
It's a long book.
It was like 2 years ago. But yeah. And then I've read The Shining. We read that one. We listened to that one on our trip. Yeah. And you listened to this one on our trip. But yes. I think I was sleeping for a lot of it. Yeah. And so I missed it. I mean, you were listening to this one or the original? The revised.
This is the original.
Oh, this is the original. Yeah. I read the original. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that is something to touch on. Is you're reading? Well, you read this already. We're kind of late on recording these videos because you already have finished book 2, The Drawing of the Three, which I have right here, and you're currently reading The Wastelands, which is somewhere else
upstairs,
in the house. Yeah. And so your review is maybe slightly different than it would have been if you hadn't read anything else.
I think so. I did write a bunch down when I first finished this book and during this book. But my looking back at those notes, it's definitely changed since reading The Drawing of the Three because he just goes on to explore so much more of the world, and it gets weird.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got some notes. I think so. Going into it, you know a little bit about the Dark Tower. It's one of those things where I've probably spoiled some of the things for you because in talking about it and just reading other Stephen King books since we've been married and other little pieces fitting together. It's just something I like and I care about, and so I've talked about it, thinking like, "Oh, you."
Yeah, I'll never read it, kind of thing. Yeah, I didn't think I would ever read it or any Stephen King.
Yeah, so I've in thinking like that, we sort of spoiled a couple of things, and this whole review will be spoilers for the first book. I'm not going to share anything else for the subsequent books, and we'll try to stay out of book 3 or book 2 and book 3 of what you read of it so far. But there is spoilers for book 1 if you haven't read it yet. But yeah, so you know a little bit. You went in knowing Roland to some degree.
Yeah, barely.
You kind of a little bit maybe know the ending of the whole series because,
which is kind of sad. You talk about your books and how you would do it differently. I don't know. Yeah. And so then you talk about these books
and like the tie-in of the whole world. Yeah. And so some of that. But there's, like I said, some of these other things tie in. And so if you ever read any of these other books, maybe you would see the tie-ins, which is kind of cool. But don't look at them too hard because starting from the style of the book, I feel like this is a very different style than a lot of other Stephen King books. It's very different from the rest of the series, in my opinion. Although maybe the style kind of comes back into play. Books 3 on, I think 2 is the most different. And you probably noticed that, but from just the style and comparing it maybe to Salem's Lot or The Shining, which you're aware of, what are your thoughts on?
This is an earlier book, right? Like it feels very different, Stephen King. When I started reading it, I was kind of surprised. Salem's Lot was earlier than this. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just felt like it was really different. It wasn't horror. I mean, I didn't like Roland at all. I'm sure we'll get to that character.
Yeah.
Just terrible guy. But the world building felt different. I feel like Stephen King really gets into his world building a lot, and I feel like he left a lot of stuff open until further. And I mean, you don't even know Roland's name until you're pretty good into the book, and then you learn it.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I knew it because you have talked about him, but I realized as a reader, you don't know what his name is until further into it. So I feel like Stephen King writes this very differently. I don't know a lot of Stephen King books. I've only read 2. And well, other than like the Dwelling of the Three, which felt more like a Stephen King book. He definitely has some weird parts in this book that feels very Stephen King.
Yeah.
So.
yeah. I think it's different eras, because this was written quite a bit later than this book. You should check out my video on the revised edition of this, and that whole deal, because I kind of outline a little bit of the timeline of when the books were written. But he kind of writes in different eras, and so you can kind of pick up, like even like the Bachman books, which aren't necessarily all written at the same time, but written over the course of his career, and they have a different kind of feel to them.
I don't know.
He wrote under a false name, a pseudonym, Richard Bachman.
That's right. You've told me
this one right here is Richard Bachman. Regulators.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, but anyways, yeah. So, no, that's interesting that you felt like different than this, like almost earlier than the Salem's Lot, even though it was written afterwards.
Yeah, because I didn't realize.
Yeah.
But yeah, it felt different.
Yeah.
But then getting into the characters.
Yeah.
Very interesting characters. I think Allie, is that her name? She's very interesting, and just that whole town. And then he goes and kills the whole town. Spoilers, obviously.
Yeah.
So I hope you aren't watching if you plan on reading it. But I was just shocked. I was like, was that real? Did that actually happen? Did he actually just kill the kids, everything? I was happy he killed the fat lady, but the rest of them, they felt innocent. But I mean, I know he had to. If you kind of get to know Roland, because it's like he doesn't necessarily feel like he wants to. It just, he knows that the man in black has already gotten to them, and they've already been possessed, in a sense.
Yeah.
And this demonic preacher lady has them all captured, in a sense. And so then he kills them all. That felt very Stephen King, that whole town. Interesting preacher, the way she preaches to her crowd.
Yeah.
Very interesting, very weird. Definitely was reading this book, and I was like, I'm not going to finish this. I just can't. It's not. Morally, it's so weird and very interesting. Felt religious, weirdly, in some ways, which I'll get to the second book, but yeah, that was interesting to me. And I thought, okay, I don't know how far into the series I can really get, but then the book did kind of capture you towards the end, and I did like the Western feel a lot. I thought that was really cool. You get this really cool feeling from Roland. I wasn't attached to any of the characters until Jake. I like Jake. He was a sweet boy.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
But what else?
I mean, characters. I guess the mystery of Jake coming in, and you know more in book, in book 2 after reading book 2, but from book 1,
right? He comes into it, and you're like, oh, so this is not the only world. That's kind of what you get from that. And I sort of knew that, but I was trying to read it as if I knew nothing about the series.
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay, so now there's outside worlds, and this kid came here through death. And so he's already dead, Man in Black. Clearly, like, Roland knows it, everyone kind of knows it. It's kind of a setup, but he cares about the kid. And that plays into Roland's character a lot too. You're like, oh, he is a good, there's good in him. You're very interested in his story. So then he finally starts talking about his past. And that's really cool, because then you learn how he became a gunslinger, how young he was. You learn about his mom. You learn that the Man in Black was always there. Like, Mort was his dad's friend having an affair with his mom, right?
Merlin or whatever.
Yeah. That's very interesting, because you're just like, you want to know more about how he became this person. And he continuously says, I'm the last one. And so you're like, okay, how did everybody die? How is he the last one? Why is he the last one? How old is this guy? And then you learn more. Now I'm kind of confusing the two books. I feel like what he's told people in the second book versus what he told Jake.
Yeah, we should have done this review earlier, because we just life and everything just didn't get to it. But yeah, it's no, those are all interesting thoughts. I don't want to add too much of my own thoughts, because I don't want to spoil things going forward. The Man in Black, Walter.
That's
that's
what I was thinking of. Walter.
Yeah,
he was the one that.
Yeah. Thoughts on him?
I didn't expect him to be, because he kind of, I think Roland.
You're kind of chasing him, but you don't really meet him. And then getting to the mountain, and they have this palaver.
Right.
That
conversation. That seems to last all night, like the all night, but the night lasts forever. Type thing. And then their whole conversation, their whole back and forth, the whole how much he knows, how long he's been there, how long he's known Roland. You know, all these things tied in that Roland had no idea.
Yeah.
Very felt like he was like 3 steps ahead. You know, which he was.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up, and this Walter guy's been dead for like 100 years. That's super weird. I had to like reread that because I was like, wait, what just happened? And I'm still confused by it, honestly. I mean,
yeah. There's I mean, without spoiling more than I've already spoiled, just in our marriage, I think, and I guess going to that video that I made about the revised edition, there's a lot of things that change and differences throughout, and not that I won't tell you anything that does change between this book and the revised version, which I think it's right here.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there are some things that in reading the revised are kind of corrected in a way. But you'll get to it. You'll finish the series if we get to the end of the series, and you'll go, oh, okay, this makes sense. So really, I'll
have to read the revised.
It's an 8-book series because you read the revised afterwards. Best scenes in the book and worst scenes.
The best scene I actually think was there's a few that were pretty good that I think just the writing's really well done. I mean, the first line is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, but I feel like everyone just says that, so now I've just jumped on that bandwagon.
Yeah.
But I really liked was the bird's name David? Yeah. When he uses him as the weapon, that was really cool.
Yep.
I didn't expect it. You know, he's at this like learning how to be a gunslinger, and he uses a bird as his weapon.
Yeah.
To defeat his master, and that was really cool. That whole scene was pretty epic. I mean, he's like 13 or something. And then, anyways, but
yeah,
that was really good. And then there's a couple scenes with Jake that I thought were pretty good. And then the scene where Jake ends up sacrificing Jake felt very long. Like while I'm reading it, I'm like, you could save him and then go get the man in black. You know, which, I mean, I know it's probably happening a lot faster than that, but it felt very drawn out. Like you're having this whole conversation with this kid that's just hanging there, and you can't run over and just grab his hand real quick, pull him up, and then leave him. You know, you have to, because it's almost like the gunslinger, Roland was just like, I have to sacrifice him, so I might as well just leave him, like kind of thing. But now it's going to haunt him. Yeah, that was interesting. I don't know if wouldn't say it's the worst scene. The worst, I think, is the church. That whole
church
scene.
Service thing.
Yeah, the church service. The whole thing with like the I thought it was pretty disturbing. The grass eater guy, started with an N, I think his name did. Yeah. Anyways, he's like dead, and then he comes back to life. It's really weird. It's like when he meets Allie in that restaurant place.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of butchering that now, but it was really weird.
Yeah.
And kind of disturbing. And then, yeah, he kind of just sleeps around a little bit. I guess he just really sleeps with that one girl. But still.
Yeah.
I don't like that. But yeah, the church service and then killing the whole entire town, including the children, was pretty disturbing and weird. But it's still well written, and you get to see that Roland's incredible with his gun. You're like, oh my goodness, he's just insanely fast. Oh my goodness, he's still shooting them. Holy cow, he's killed the whole entire town.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was spoilers, real spoilers. There's a lot of spoilers in this. I hope you.
Well, yeah. No, there are some. I mean, it's not a very like optimistic, positive book. There's the whole sacrifice with Jake and the inevitability of that, and his kind of, he's, like you said, he doesn't necessarily want to do these things, but he kind of has to. Yeah. He feels like his kind of bound to it. The tower. Yeah.
Which you don't even learn about the tower until the end. Do you even learn about it in this book, really?
I don't remember. I feel like he mentions it.
He mentions, like, I gotta get to I'm heading to the tower, I think, or something along those lines, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the impetus really is just catching the man in black. Yeah, there's some interesting, the whole mountain thing. I mean, it's a very
weird.
It is weird. There's pacing things in the book, and I think that kind of goes with the whole series. You'll maybe notice that, where sometimes it feels super rushed, and sometimes it feels like Man, really taking forever.
Yeah.
And that's weirdly enough part of the story in a way, which you'll see. It is if you I think there's you read the second one, and you are interested in reading the third one. You started it.
Yeah.
There's like one scene in the third one that I think is pretty rough. Beyond that, if you survive that scene, or you tell me to skip it over for you and I just explain what it is, either way, I think if you get beyond book 3, the rest of the series is pretty safe, except for like a little bit maybe in like book 6, I'm thinking, or and if you're a constant reader and you've read the series, you know what I'm talking about. But once you finish the whole thing, I guess is what I'm trying to get to. Once you finish the whole thing, you'll kind of understand, and it'll make more sense. And I don't know. I'd be very curious to see what your thought is.
The first book makes way more sense after reading the second one. I feel like my criticism on it was a little harsher. Like, you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
You feel like there's so much up in the air. You're confused of how much of it's actually real. Like, was Jake a hallucination the whole entire time? Was he ever actually there? Or was he just put in his mind by this guy, Walter, Man in Black, who can obviously manipulate things very easily because he manipulated a whole town, and he manipulated the night where it felt like Roland was in this night forever, and then he was dead. Like, he's obviously got a lot of power, and he's probably not actually dead. I don't know, but I feel like that I was very confused for some of it.
Yeah.
And felt like the world hadn't been built enough. And I was like, what is this place? Is this like the only town? Are there more towns? Is Roland basically the only person alive anymore? What's this desert? What's the desert? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, and then the second book, I feel like helps that, but it's also feels like a completely different book.
Yeah, it really does. And I think that's my thought always on the Dark Tower is, I think you should read the first one. I think you should read the original edition. And then read the second book. And if you're not interested after reading book 2, just there's other books to read. You don't have to read the series.
Yeah, if you don't like book 2, you're probably not gonna. I mean, I enjoyed book 1. I liked the Western style.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
a very Clint Eastwood type character.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that was the goal. Yeah, we'll have to do a book 2 review before you get too far into book 3, so that we can.
I just pause until we do it.
Yeah.
One of my questions was like, the Man in Black was Walter? I was like, Martin, Walter. Yeah, Martin.
Yeah, you'll just have to read on, I guess. I don't want to say too much about that.
Roland beat like the record of the youngest gunslinger.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of cool. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Beat his dad by 2 years. He kind of like is proud of that, you know. I was really shocked when he killed I knew Jake was going to die. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I knew it had to have happened soon. And I was still like, he killed Jake.
Yeah.
You know?
That, I think that's a good, when authors can do that and they tell you something's going to happen and you're like, no, it's not actually, you know, and you get to a place where that event is going to take place and you're kind of arguing with the book as you're reading it. You're like, no, don't do this. This doesn't have to happen this way. There's another way to do this.
There's got to be some other way.
Anytime you get like interactive with the book vocally, to me, that's just interesting writing. And not in a way of like, this is so stupid. Why is this happening?
Right.
It's
but
bad writing, like, but in a way of like, oh, come on, there's got to be something else, you know? And so, yeah, I think that's.
Yeah. It reminded me of the way I like knew it was coming. He tells us it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Felt like that movie. What's that? I See Dead People.
Oh, Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense, yeah.
Yeah.
When we watched that, it was like, oh.
You knew the spoiler.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot it. Yeah. I knew Nate Bargatze ruined it for me. But I forgot while we were watching it. I forgot that it was that movie.
Yeah.
And then it comes to the point where the kid says, like, I see dead people. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know this movie.
Right.
Or I know the spoiler. But it is funny because it's so true. Like, at the beginning of the movie, he gets shot and you know he's dead. Spoilers, if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, so we're
double spoiling this book and that movie. And I didn't even warn anybody.
Sixth Sense. That's true. Who do you think this book is for? Who would be interested in this? Not specific people that you know in real life, but kind of people that you know.
Weirdo. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm kidding. Well, Stephen King, first off, he had some bad rap, especially by Christians, I feel like, because it's, very demonic. It's very like, how can you read this? He cusses a ton. There's he has some very weird ways of writing. He kind of sexualizes quite a bit, I feel like, in the second book at least.
Yeah.
And just by like weird stuff. It's weird, like from drugs or something like that, Yeah. So he's a very weird writer sometimes, but his writing is really good. And I mean, there's a reason he's one of the richest authors in the world. Because he's a phenomenal writer.
Yeah.
And he knows how to capture your attention. Now, for who I think it's for, I don't think it's for any moms out there. I'm kidding. I mean, I'm a mom, so I've enjoyed it. But I don't know. Like, if you like horror, he's not even like super horror-ish. I mean,
not that scary.
It's not very scary. So if you're like, oh, I can't read these books because Stephen King's a horror writer and it's so scary, whatever. No, this is very much a Western. I mean, it's got some creepy stuff, but it's not a horror at all. There's no jump scares by any means, and it's kind of just a different take on stuff. I mean, if you're reading some of those, if you're a woman and you're reading some of those
smut
kind of books, this is better than that. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's a very interesting book. It's captured my attention, and I plan to read the whole series. And I would not have thought that I would have enjoyed these at all.
Do you feel like it falls more into I guess this book specifically, Western, which maybe you haven't read that many Westerns, but Western, fantasy / science fiction, kind of the speculative, or horror of the three, or maybe even like a thriller, or if you're going to try to box it into a corner.
I would say like a fantasy Western.
Yeah.
Like it's this interesting mix of fantasy and Western.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's horror at all. There's scarier parts maybe because you're just the unknown, but there's no horror.
Yeah.
In it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not it.
No, I agree. No, I don't think it's it's a kind of an adventure. It's a journey that he's going on, and the whole series is like that. And there are horrific elements to it, but I would kind of argue that none of his books really are that much of a horror book. Maybe I don't know. Maybe not none of them. Some of them kind of fit the mold.
Kind of scary.
Some of them are scary, but there's something. It's more than just like to scare you. I think of a horror movie, and I'm thinking of something like Halloween or Friday the 13th, where you're not really there for the plot. You're not really there for the characters.
Scream.
You're there for Scream. Scream is a comedy. You're there for the scariness of it, the creepiness of it, the unsettling feeling, kind of getting that adrenaline rush of, the killer's in the cabin, he's gonna, kill the teenagers or whatever, and that's kind of why you watch horror movies.
A lot of jump scares.
Jump scares. Atmospheric. Yeah. I don't know that Stephen King's. Even we listened to The Shining.
Creepy.
Which creepy for sure, but it's got so much more layers to it than just
it's very real.
This is to be scary,
Yeah.
It's characters that are very deep and interesting in a bad situation that's made worse by their own problems and problems outside of their control. I don't know. I mean, I guess because it has horrifying elements to it, then you just go, oh, it's a horror story.
I would argue that Salem's Lot is more of a horror because it's got those aspects of like little jump scares maybe, and you kind of don't want to you're on the edge of your seat, you don't want to put the book down until you get to like a safer spot because you don't want to like go to bed with thinking that at all.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's, and the plot of the story is a lot more, bad thing happens, we need to stop this bad thing. And so, I don't know, but either way, I still don't think Salem's Lot's really that scary.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty scary.
Okay, yeah. So
but I enjoyed it still. It was. I don't think I would enjoy a horror book that's like purposely horror, because I've read some horror short stories I didn't like. Like they're well written, but I don't like
creepy.
Yeah, they're creepy. So
short form, I think, is a lot easier. Anyway, we're kind of off topic.
Yeah, we got away from it.
Okay, well, that was, I think, most of what I had. What was your rate this book? Book one?
I gave it a 4.
Give it a 4?
Yeah, I probably would have given it like a 3.5.
Yeah.
But they don't have 3.5s. But then I think after reading the second book, I would give it a 4.
Yeah, see, that's the problem with, well, not the problem, but one of the things with the series is that the books, if you finish the series and you enjoy it, they all kind of improve, just because of how well it is, all tied together. And some book series can have 8 or 10 books, and especially in fantasy, and there's like filler books and middle books that don't really matter. But King has a very unique way of making sure everything ties together. So even things that you think are like, how does that make any sense? It does tie together, and you could maybe, well, I don't want to get too far into how it all works, but anyways, yeah, I could totally see thinking that the book is better as you read more. That is our interview / review of the first book of the Dark Tower series, The Gunslinger. Yeah, you're reading book 2, or you've read book 2. We'll have a review for that. You're reading book 3. I think as long as you're interested, we'll keep doing them. I don't want you to be pressured into thinking like, I need to read these because
he's
my
not,
husband likes
he's not forcing me to read these, okay? He's not.
Yeah. No, I mean, I enjoy them, and it's fun to talk about, and it's fun to hear your thoughts on them from, I read this 10 plus years ago, and I read the whole series over the course of like 6 or 7 years. And so you're probably gonna read it over the course of a couple months.
Yeah.
So that'll be a lot different. Thanks for watching. Thanks for following along. Look forward to the next review of book 2. We'll get that recorded and edited and put up at some point, and we'll just continue on with the Dark Tower series.